David, a handsome young man, arrived at Amin Hospital, suffering from a severe stomach ache. Despite medication, he showed no signs of relief, enduring his pain with a bravery that would anger anyone who witnessed his condition. I had seen many patients in distress, but David's agony was unlike anything I had encountered before. To ease his suffering, I had to administer a sleeping injection, which allowed him to finally rest peacefully on the bed. His elderly father, Musa, was with him, worry etched on his face. "Doctor, is there any hope for my son?" Musa asked, his voice trembling with concern. He left his question hanging, the weight of his son's suffering evident. I reviewed David's medical reports, which appeared normal. Musa explained, "We don't understand why he writhes in pain like this every month on the 14th, even though he has no illness." I replied, "I cannot promise, but I will do my utmost to help David over. The doctors I consulted are highly qualified, and I am merely a novice in comparison." Musa's face brightened a little as I spoke, but my heart ached for him. At his age, he should be enjoying his son's company, not watching him suffer. "Do not worry, Allah will make things better," I reassured him. However, it was clear that when a patient himself cannot comprehend his condition, it complicates matters for everyone involved. I took David's case as a challenge to solve. Musa held onto my shoulders, pleading, "Doctor, he is my only support in my old age. Please save him." I gently pushed him away, saying, "You are like a father to me. Please don't embarrass me by doing this." The region around Amin Hospital was remote, with poor roads that made transportation difficult. People relied on camels and carts to get around. Clean drinking water was scarce, and the locals used wells for their daily needs. A natural lake about a mile away served as a vital resource, providing fresh water and a place for the community to bathe. In summer, the lake attracted colorful birds, drawing visitors from the city who came to see the beautiful sights. The lake was rumored to be home to water fairies who emerged at night, especially on the 14th of each month. They were said to be so beautiful that anyone who caught a glimpse would be enchanted forever. However, no one had ever truly seen these fairies. They were just stories passed down through generations. Though the hospital had a name, it felt more like a shelter for animals than a medical facility. The medicines available were far from adequate. I often found myself longing to return to the city, where the conditions were much better. After a long day, I would collapse onto my cot and fall asleep, finding solace in the rest. One morning, I woke up refreshed after a long sleep. I filled a bucket with well water and took a cold bath, which helped ease my frustration. I contemplated resigning from my position, thinking it would not affect the government much if I left. However, I also knew that working here offered a chance for quick promotion, and I had already seen the joy I brought to the local people. That afternoon, David regained consciousness. He looked much better, as if his earlier suffering had been a dream. I asked him how he felt, and he replied, "Doctor, I feel completely fine." I pressed him further, wanting to understand what had happened. "I experienced this pain like a thorn tearing at my insides, and it's unbearable," he explained. I cautioned him that being honest about his condition was essential for proper treatment. After some hesitance, he agreed to share his story. "It started over a year ago," David began, "at the lake where people come to see birds. I had heard tales of water fairies that appeared under the moonlight, especially on the 14th. I wanted to see them for myself, but I kept my desire secret, fearing ridicule from others." He continued, "Every month, I would go to the lake, hoping to catch a glimpse of the fairies. One night, I saw them beautiful girls with long hair, half fish and half human. I was mesmerized. In my excitement, I threw a net over the most beautiful one, trapping her. She pleaded for freedom, promising riches, but I refused to let her go." David's tone shifted as he recalled the moment. "She told me that her kind could only live in water and would suffer if kept on land. I didn't listen. Eventually I let her go, but she promised to visit me weekly. For a while she did, but after I made a mistake out of youthful folly, she never returned." David explained that since that day, he had been tormented by pain every month on the 14th. "Each time the pain hits, I feel guilty for my actions," he confessed. I listened intently but struggled to find any medical explanation for his condition. One day, while reflecting on David's case, I met an elderly man named Rahim, known for his wisdom and ability to help those in distress. He was a comforting presence in the community. He approached me with concern, sensing my troubled spirit. "Why do you look so distressed, my child?" he asked. I shared David's story, expressing my frustration at not being able to help him. Rahim listened carefully and said, "When medicine fails, sometimes spiritual healing can succeed. I have helped many in similar situations." He handed me a small talisman and instructed me on how to use it. "Dissolve this in water and give it to him as soon as you can. The second talisman should be given a week later, and the third when his condition worsens. Keep the fourth safe. I'll guide you on its use later." With renewed hope, I returned to Amin Hospital, where Musa awaited news about his son. I assured him that I would do everything I could to help Dodd. When David arrived, I mixed the first talisman in water and gave it to him. He drank it eagerly, trusting my intentions. As the days passed, nothing seemed to change. However, when I administered the third talisman, David's condition worsened, and he began to vomit violently. To my shock, small white creatures emerged from him. I quickly contained them in a jar, bewildered by this strange turn of events. I called Rahim to inform him of the situation. "This is a sign of healing," he explained. "Now, use the fourth talisman as instructed following his guidance." I dissolved the last talisman in water and poured it over the creatures in the jar. They thrashed around before finally becoming still. After ensuring they were lifeless, I disposed of them in a nearby pond, following Rahim's instructions. Miraculously, David's health began to improve, and he no longer suffered from the monthly pains. I shared the good news with Musa, who was overjoyed to have his son back in good health. "You have saved my only support in my old age," he said gratefully. I felt a deep sense of satisfaction, knowing that David was finally free from the torment that had haunted him for so long. Sometimes, curiosity and impulsive actions can lead to unexpected consequences. David's encounter with the water fairy serves as a reminder of the importance of respecting the mysteries of nature and the boundaries of the unknown. His monthly suffering became a lesson in humility and the power of forgiveness. It also highlights how healing is not just about physical medicine, but can sometimes require spiritual understanding and the guidance of wisdom. The doctor's openness to alternative solutions and Rahim's knowledge of spiritual healing show that compassion, tradition, and a willingness to help others can bring relief and restoration in ways we may not fully understand. For those listening, remember, not every mystery is meant to be uncovered, and sometimes true healing comes from acknowledging and respecting forces beyond our control.